We bought a convention. Now
Agree.
what?
Agree.
Put that away.
Yeah, so I think this is a fun one too to take people along because, right, we bought SoCal Gaming Expo, right? Huge for us. By the way, we didn't do a follow-up video since then. The announcement from the reaction from the community was unreal.
Awesome. Yeah.
Unexpected. You always, think you're going to find at least 20 trolls in there somewhere who's going to be like, you guys suck, screw you guys, this. It was the most loving comment section I've seen in years. It's very humbling too because a lot of people are like, I have a hard time accepting compliments. That's always been kind of like weird for me. So, or I guess here's the compliment I've always had a hard time accepting. When people like say like you deserve it or you're great. I don't know, my brain being, a guy who's made mistakes in his life, my brain, that thank you, Jesus, that I moved past that. But a lot of me internally is like, when people tell me I deserve it, I'm always like, well, no. I'm really just a regular guy and I've made mistakes in my life. I don't deserve it. It's all by grace. You know what I mean? So I have a hard time accepting those, but seeing those so many was so overwhelming and like heartwarming coming from not just our local SoCal community, but from the community of gaming. But now we bought it. So what's next? What's our next steps? What are we doing? What are we doing tomorrow,
Ricky, what
Chris?
Are we doing?
Yeah, what are the next steps in your
Ricky,
process?
what are you doing?
Ricky,
it was our
please.
intervention. Me and Chris were doing all the work. Ricky, what are you doing?
Look out, Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky, so what's your updates?
Updates. We're still working on the convention.
Good old Ricky.
No
why
way.
don't you tell them where we're at, what we're actually doing tomorrow?
So we're going to look at Pasadena tomorrow.
Yep.
Really the process after, working out the deal, making the announcement, was really to find a home and a date. It was previously at Ontario. The dates didn't necessarily work last year. We also kind of wanted to go out and look at other venues. There's some really good ones here in LA.
And I think I want to jump into that before you finish. Keep that sentence going. Is the reason why we might not be staying at Ontario is we don't want to come in here and mix things up, but because we think the only dates available clash with other local expos, and we immediately made a list. When we got into this, I said, Chris, I want to make a list of all the expos and their dates because I reached out to convention owners. I don't want to mess with these people. My last thing is I don't want to come in and be like, hey, we're the guys on YouTube that bought a convention and we got that date. Heck no.
Which is so important. And from doing Retro World for years.
Yeah.
Shout out to Retro World.
Heck yeah,
real
shout out to
quick.
Retro World.
Next
Expo,
month,
bro.
August 26th,
Say it with your
27th.
chest.
I got my shirt on. But
I'm going to blur that shirt out. No, please support Chris in Retro World as well if you're in Connecticut
Really
area.
can't wait
Yeah,
to go
anywhere
for the
around
first
there.
time, so don't worry.
Oh, yeah, and Curtis is coming this year.
Oh, yeah.
Cancel your
Curtis.
flights.
These guys.
But go ahead.
But it is always super important to not be around dates of other shows. As a courteous, we know many of these other show owners, whether it's John Lester putting on Game On Expo.
Joe Alonso, Really Rad Weekend.
Yep.
Austin from SEGE.
Yeah, all these guys. So try to work within dates. You don't want to be on the same date. So it's looking at dates, what space works for us. Cost is obviously always a big important factor.
Yeah.
I mean, like we looked at some of them, like Long Beach, I'll just mention, which was like super pricey. I mean,
Crazy
out of the
pricey.
picture just based on the price. So
And people need to know that too. Like, take that in consideration. It's because it's so easy to get lost in, right? Like the viewer, right? And I would have done it too, right? Like as a attendee before an owner, right? Like, why don't they just put it here? There's so much more that goes into that I'm learning than why don't they just do it there, right? Because like you said, cost, space, size, availability. We looked at a place that we love that was in a giant airport hangar. It was like the most cool
Pretty
looking
awesome.
picture ever.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is amazing. Let's do it. And then they're like, but you have to pay for a power company and there's no air and there's
No
so it's
internet.
like,
They
no
charged me for
internet.
opening the doors. I was like, what?
Yeah.
yeah, so there's a lot of factors that go into it. Really, I would say we're at the stage of like collecting information, like requests for proposal, RFPs. Like, let's gather all the information on the venues that we like, and then narrow them down. Some don't work, some dates don't work. This building is too big, this one's too small,
Yeah.
and factoring all that information. But I would say hopefully maybe within the next couple weeks might have something pinned down.
I would say by the time this goes out, I don't like to edit these podcasts, but if we do have a date, I will put it on the screen right now. And if you're watching and you're not going, everybody look at the camera. For shame. For shame. I really hope that everyone goes and not just, local SoCal people only. But we have some cool things that have been happening too. We talked to a couple people who have reached out since then who are, managers of different people out here in LA, even though we're not in LA, we're in OC. But I think one of the best things we have going for us, and this isn't not to flex on any, event or any other convention, being where we are, when I talk to some of these managers, they're like, wait, SoCal? And they're like, these people will come, because the biggest hurdle always is, flights and hotels and making sure that this and their time. He's like, half of those people, you're not paying for travel. And if you do, you're paying for gas, and half of them aren't even going to want a hotel. They can just drive 20 minutes home.
When we're looking for guests for Retro World, which is in Connecticut, 50% of the guests that we contact live, guess where?
Yeah.
Here in SoCal.
Yep.
Because of Hollywood, because it's voice actors, all that stuff.
Yep.
So, yeah, guests should be so much easier.
We have a lot of really cool ones, and I'm trying to be very specific about who comes that I think is, important to this scene. One of the ones I think, I can't lock these people in yet, but I can, kind of say who they are. Some of the voice actors from Sonic X, the actual voice of Sonic and Silver, Amy, Chris Redfield, Joel Valentine from Resident Evil. We might be able to get the whole cast of Resident Evil out there.
Yeah.
Pokemon, and obviously what I want to do with it though, and you better not steal this for Retro World, bro. I'll beat you. Any of you other
Get out the notes.
Any of you other convention owners out there? If I see this at your expo, you're dead. I want to do playing that game with the actor.
Ooh,
Who wouldn't want to play Sonic with Sonic? Who doesn't want to play a round of a couple Resident Evil with the cast of Resident Evil?
So I already stole that idea. Because we have Terry Torak. I think I mentioned him before. He's the Nintendo World
That's
Championship
different. He's not a voice
announcer. But what we're doing
Is he going to play Turok?
No, we're flying.
Yo.
Terry Turok? You like it? You like that?
Oh my God.
Quality dad joke. Quality dad joke. I
Play
love
Turok
it.
with Tony Turok. All right, what'd you say?
So we're flying out. I'm actually going to be having them in briefcases. I think you guys know him too. His name is Adam. He's in San Diego, but he had put together a whole Nintendo World Championship setup where you can press a button. It plays like 7 or 8 games at one time. It starts them all at the same time. So you have 7 or 8 Nintendos set up with Nintendo cartridges, Nintendo World Championship cartridges. And so we're setting that up. Have Terry there to announce that. So,
okay, so that's not exactly the same, but yes,
Similar.
yours is cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I do like that. Yeah, I think you should be able to do stuff with people that relate to who they are. Like we can have you game hunt with Phoenix Resale and live rip people off. Horrible. I'm just kidding.
My biggest-
let me say this real quick before you say it.
Yeah.
Caleb, Phoenix Resale gets
We
so
love
much.
him.
I want to have him on and ask him what it's like to be so hated and so loved.
That one brought me to tears.
He is probably one of the biggest supporters of this
awesome.
podcast.
He's going to be at Retro World this year. Come see him.
Wow.
We could do that bit.
Don't, you steal it, you're dead, bro. What were you gonna say, Chris?
My biggest thing is, how have you guys been able to like kind of manage your time since you've been initially added on to owning an expo?
I can jump in.
Don't even ask. You go first.
No, go
Not
ahead.
out.
You're stressed. You go ahead. I like it.
Yo.
It is stressful in a good sense, stress, but it has added a lot more when there's already a lot on the plate for me, managing 5 stores and then running the expo. The expo gets very intense, like a month before the show, right now. So with all the guests and vendors and everything just going on, flights and so much to do, and to add this on, it's just a little bit more on the plate. And obviously that we don't even have dates yet.
Yep.
But it's certainly, I'm even questioning myself, like, man, how much I've had to kind of restructure how I manage my day just to incorporate that into it. It's a fair amount of work.
Curtis, want to buy a share?
Yeah. Yeah, put me in. Put me in, coach.
For me, it's been a lot too as well. I'm a very go-getter type guy. That's just my personality. So even without the date set, I've been like trying to do every little thing I can to start things. With the social media, with Mikey to post, to asking people what they want, to being on the phone with voice actor people to be like, are you going to come, talking with Gerard? Like, are you going to be able to this? Who can you get for us? How can you get this? Like, I'm trying to be as proactive as I can. For me, I've always been this way with like all of my work that I do, multiple jobs, multiple things. And I'm always running at 11 the whole time.
I honestly don't. I don't understand how he does it at all,
crazy.
guys.
And for me, I love the workload too. That's not the thing. It's when I look at my emails or whatever and I can't get to them and they compound and go to the next. And then I'm like, shoot, I can't get to all this workload. That's where I...
Yeah, because your brain is like, I am a workhorse. Let me get to it, but I physically can't.
Yeah, and we were talking about it before we come in like today, because like we're in some group chats and obviously talking about stuff. And I feel like I know if I send a message out, within 5 seconds you'll respond, and vice versa. I'm responding to you within 5 seconds, and then we're like, "Where's Ricky all day?"
Ricky, what's it like to watch me and Chris work?
I mean, I'm not like these guys. These guys are these guys are 100%, especially Riff. Actually, both of these dudes, they're crazy. I love.
Chris is kind of crazy too.
No, they're literally going all out. Chris is like sending us pictures. Look what's in the storage. We got this. We got that. Then you got. We actually went disc golfing the other day, and then Riff couldn't come because he was talking to Chris Redfield. I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah,
but these guys are literally going hardcore. I'm talking to some conventions, but
No, Ricky's
I'm
been
not-
doing work. We're just
Of course, I'm
one.
100% messing with you, and everybody works at different paces too. So it's no.
Oh,
problem.
yeah.
I don't expect.
I think
people
Ricky's
to
going to be
always
huge when it
like-
comes to vendors. Or, I mean, dates are announced. Oh, you're going to get us going with all the.
I'm going to get us some
vendors.
illegal wiring in there. I'm like,
Wow, no worry. You hear that? He said it first.
Yo.
He said illegal wiring.
Big insurance policy, thank the Lord.
He said it first. You guys hear that?